yarn from Skeino. Our subject today is, and nobody likes it, ends. If you see in the pattern, weaving in ends, ooh, nobody loves this. But I will show you how to. It's very simple, very easy. It needs practice, and you will hear me saying this over and over again. Just take a little swatch, thread the needle, take another color, and practice. It's very simple. I'm not talking about pulling threads into a seam from a garment, but visible. So a visible scarf, a shawl, and whatever. So I hope you will enjoy it. See you soon. Stitching in the ends, nobody likes it, and I am not different. And you see here, this is a little sample when I did the Miss Gray scarf, and I have here some other balls. So there will be always yarn changes. You cannot run it on the side like here. It is just too long. So I was a bad boy here, but this was just a sample. But I want to show you how to stitch all these ends in so nobody can see it. And here I did one with an end. You see it sits here in the yellow. It's this reddish thread in the yellow, and it goes diagonal through. And if I turn it around, there is nothing to see. It really is not to see on the other side. And of course it would be the same color, so you cannot see anyway. So I will pull it out and I will stitch it back in so you can see how I do it. Of course I have a tapestry needle. It's pretty thick with a big eye, and you cannot sting yourself. And you cannot split any yarn. So I hope you can see what I'm doing here. So let's assume the yarn end comes out here, and you need to stitch that end in. So what I'm doing is, this is garter stitch here. So I go through the loops, the bottom loop from the first, and twist the needle and go in here. Then I take diagonal up, twist the needle a little bit, and take that one. The next ridge, the needle a little bit around. It needs a little bit practice, but it works for me very well. So go here, all the way around, and when you thread it through, it really, even the red thread is not so much to see, and on the other side you cannot see anything. Let's stretch it a little bit out. I don't even know where it is. Aha, here it is. But you cannot see it. So that is one way to do. And in addition to this, what I always do is I cut the thread not very short, about 1/2 inch end, and before I wash my piece, and after washing I completely cut it off. But the better way would be, of course, if you split the yarn. This is a 2-ply yarn here, so I split it, untwist it, and pull it to make it really thin, so you really can see it here on the white background. Pull the other one a little further and do the same here. So this is splitting it open. There we go. So then you have no cut, and it's getting thinner and thinner and thinner until you have only little fibers. And when you thread this one in all the way, it cannot come out after washing or when you wear it. So let's thread it a little bit further so you can see how this really works in. And as I said, practice, practice, practice. So it goes in here, here, then one over the bottom and the top, one over the bottom and the top, one over. to grab the second one, you have to go a little bit around. So let's see. So now I have the thread in. There's my end here. So, and then of course you can pull it in until you have a thin end here. It needs to be a little bit longer because of the split end here. So, and it will be never ever come out. So you see, even the red thread in here is invisible. Show you the other side again. There we go. Nothing to see. So this would be garter stitch. If you have a stockinette stitch, you can do it on the purl side on the same way. It's not visible on the other side. So if you have a knot here in the middle of your yarn and you don't want to split-sply it, then you can stitch the needle in going south and north or east and west. It depends on. But that's how I do it, and it really is. I can stretch it a little bit. You see, it's right in there. So that's one way to get rid of ends. And here we go. Here's the beginning's end from your work, and it has to be threaded in one way or another. There are two ways to do it. You can go north on the edge, or you can go around the bottom where the cast on is, or the bind off is. I'm taking the blue yarn to show you how I thread it in both ways, one way here and one way here. I have my blue yarn in my needle and I'm going on the edge up, and I will show you how to thread it in. So you always have to follow the yarn from the row. So I go in here and pick up the second. I'm going in here, going in there. So you each stitch you pick up and you thread through. So this is actually really the garter stitch ridge here. So this is only one loop, and I will show you how it looks like. If this is not tight enough, so you see each garter stitch ridge here, I picked up the stitch. Here I have two. That's not clean here, so it should look like this. So you just pick up one stitch. But the better way is to go really a little bit further, not just the one loop from, so let's go in here. So I'm going at now the loop I had before and the other one here. So the loop from before, I'm going to 2. Similar to what I showed you before. So now it goes through 2. Okay, and that's a little bit tighter, and it really looks really pretty. And when, of course, you have the same yarn, so it's invisible, but here with the blue you see I go through both here on the edge, and you see on the right side there's nothing to see. So this is very nice if you have no seam. It needs to be look nice and neat. So this is kind of similar what I showed you before. So now I'm threading this through my cast on, and it's similar. So I'm going right here in the middle to show this easy. So here is my first garter stitch ridge, and this here, all the edge is my cast on. So what I'm doing is I'm finding the threads here, go from here, turn my needle around, pick it up, turn my needle around, pick it up, turn the needle. So it's like the little braid from the cast on you pick up with your needle. So again, it's the same. It's a little bit practice to pick it all up. So, and nobody will see it. This is my preferred thing because it's not with the length. So here we go. It's going right into the cast on edge. So very, very nicely. And when you wash it, so you can even stretch it a little bit because it would be the same color. And then split it here and make the ends really fuzzy on the end, so then it cannot slip back. So this is my little sample with the pink. The last sample is our red shawl again, and I want to show you how I stitch the ends in, just in case with no fringes, but you have bind off and you need to stitch your last end in. I will show it in the middle here because it's nicer to show, and I use the green yarn. So you see here the chain from the bind off, and it is very, very simple because you see each stitch very nice. So you go in the middle of the stitch and you twist your needle around the second one and the third. It's like a little waltz. Round and around. Don't go through the thread. Round and around. And when you split your yarn, it's always the best. Otherwise, cut it 1 inch, half an inch hanging out, and after washing, you can cut it. So you see how nicely it sits right in the middle of your bind off. It's really, really my favorite because you can see the stitches, and if you want to, the right side is nothing to see, but even the green one almost doesn't pop. So, and you can stretch it a little bit so there's enough room. So this is actually all. And I want to talk a little bit here about stitching in on garments. When you close the side seam or the sleeve seam, to stitch in the ends into the seam, I don't have to show it to you. You know how to do it. This is very easy because nobody will see it anyway. It's inside, but here this is all visible. And when this would be spliced, let me show this again to you so you see it maybe a second time. No, it doesn't want to. I need a little bit here. So this is 2-ply yarn, so take the first, pull it apart. This one goes back. So you see here, it is really, really, really thinning out all the way to the end. And when I pull this one in, it really disappears and it will never come out. But you need to go a little further, so your ends need to be a little longer because you need the length that the thinned out thread goes in. So when you start, you go inside a stitch through one leg, it was the leg before, and twist your needle, pick up, and pick up and pick up. So this is how it has to go. I will show you the way you shouldn't do it. If you're not going from the center, if you go from outside, and you would, first of all, it doesn't really work. You barely can go into that leg here and into this one here. It would be just not as nice. You see, it looks like a seam versus this one here. So always in the center, and how the needle wants to work. You could see I had a hard time to thread the through. This one goes so easy here. And let me pull this out because it looks so bad. But sometimes showing how you shouldn't do it is helping you to learn how to do it right from the beginning. So this one has to go back. So I'm out from the center, in the center again, in the center again. So it's very organic how you twist your needle. It's like a little waltz. So here we go. The green and the red almost not visible.